All right, my friends, we are going to make English muffins today. We've been making English muffins for a few weeks now. I'm not going to cover the dough because the dough is pretty much very similar to pizza dough. It's just a matter of what hydration level that you want to work from. The wetter you make it, the stickier it'll be. I have found that to do with, actually, I got it right in front of me here. They keep blowing their lids off. So I have 2 batches today. I have cinnamon raisin and just regular. And those have been sitting there for under an hour. So I'm going to make 2 batches of muffins today, and I'm just going to show you the process because that's the amazing thing. There is no grease, there's no oven. It is just, believe it or not, a pancake griddle, or whatever kind of griddle you want to call this, an electric griddle. I'm going to be sprinkling some semolina flour on the top of there. No grease, no butter, just semolina flour. And they only cook for about 5 minutes, 6 minutes per side. And we'll show you that real quick. All right, now before we get started, I'm going to just show you a couple of new things that I've added into doing this. So this is the first time I'm doing it, but it's not the first time I've made English muffins. So I have used parchment paper in the past, and when you get the muffins off your surface, in this case it's a marble slab, I like that for my pizza making and for anything to do with dough. And I do have some flour, actually, got a bunch of flour right there. We have our what we call cookie cutter, but it's our English muffin cutter. There is a ridged side and there is a smooth side. We're going to be careful to not forget to use the smooth side, because when you go down and you make your little muffins, you want to be able to get them off. It's a lot easier without that ridged side. We're also going to put our muffins, once we make those shapes, onto parchment paper. And in the past, I've just made them like on here, just like this, and make them out and stretching it. And they tend to get a little bit too thin in some places. So today I'm going to try something new. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. We will find out together. I am going to put 2 blocks of 1/2-inch wood down with some non-skid pads right on top of the marble slab. We're going to dump our dough right between there, and we're going to use a rolling pin just to go right across the top of the dough. So every muffin, theoretically, should be uniform in thickness. We will find out together. Stay tuned. A little bit of flour on the board here. Not too much flour, just enough to be able to get it off there. And let it rise. We're going to make our dough flat, and then we're going to let it rise. So after we roll it out, we're going to let it sit there for a little while, and then we're going to cut the cookie cutter. I keep saying cookie cutter. We're going to cut out the English muffin shapes and let them rise. All right? Oh, and you will need a tin similar to this to lay over the top of your griddle while they're on there, because they steam. They don't bake, they steam, and like pancakes. I've never tried steaming pancakes. I wonder if that would be a good idea. All right. So here goes. We're going to start with our traditional English muffin dough. Nicely risen. That's like tripled in size in like less than an hour. We don't want to deflate this too much, but we do want to get it on the slab, and we're going to just do that upside down and just like that. And it falls right out of there. Almost everything came out of there. Now, the other trick, some people flour their hands. Some people use olive oil. I like a little bit of olive oil so the dough doesn't get all stuck to my hands. Oh, do not forget, a good idea to have all your tools nearby. Dough scraper with some olive oil on there. That helps to pick your dough up. In fact, I'm going to I'm going to see if I need to even, maybe I don't even need to stretch it out. I'm just going to try something new here. A little bit of flour right across the top, and maybe a little bit of, even though this is a silicone molding pin, I'm going to just put some olive oil on there. Now, let's see. Okay, so far so good. So far so good. Yeah. All right. Trying to get the number of English muffins out of this dough that I would like to see. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to bring this in closer like that and see if we can get it to stretch out further that way. Okay. Now we're going to get our little English muffin cutter right there. And you know what? I think I'm going to do both at the same time. There's room on there to do both at the same time. So now we have our cinnamon raisin English muffin dough. I'm just going to get that on there as well. Just like that. And then we're just going to go like this. Yeah. All right. They almost look too thick, but they're not. I don't think they are. We'll find out. All right. So there you can see, we got our English muffin dough right there on the board, ready to go. And I think what we're going to do is we're going to cut them out like this. And just tear that a little bit of ways, because you can rejoin this dough. And we're going to like get that right there. And then we're just going to get this and put this right over here on our parchment paper. Yeah, that'll work. I don't know if you can see that over there. Try to bring it closer so you can see. All right. Now you're going to go back into the dough over on this side. And we'll just go right there. Right there. Just like that. We'll break that apart from there. And then we'll just go like this. All right. Now, that one is right there. Now, I'm going to get this dough off the wood here and put that together right there. And stretch this a little bit like that. And then we can do one of these guys over here too. Here we go. That is the cinnamon raisin. Put that one right there. Get another cinnamon raisin one right here. Tear that apart there. Because we're going to join this dough back up together. And then we got this cinnamon raisin one right here. We are going to let those rise again. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to join this back over together like that. And then that's like that. Like I said, this is a new way of doing it. So I'm not sure I'm going to ever do it again, but it might work out. It just might work out good. Okay, so that's the general width that we want. And we'll just bring that in there. Get our rolling pin. And then we get our cutter. Oh, almost used the wrong side of the cutter. And pull that aside from there. And this one, can't stretch that far. Right there. It's looking pretty good. And then we'll get this guy right here. This also, I guess, ensures that each muffin will be the same amount of dough. Let's get that one right there. I will show you all these in a minute once I get them all together. And I'm going to have an odd number of or sizes because a little bit of leftover dough here is not quite enough to make a normal size English muffin. But you can see this guy, this will be our little snack to eat in just a little while. Then we got that one right there. Now we got these right there. Now we're just going to go right down through there like that. And there. I don't know if you get to see this, but there's another one. They are pretty much all the same size this time. That's an improvement over the last time. And then we just go like that, pull the excess dough from the side, and get a little bit bigger than that last leftover piece. And then we go like that. Another cinnamon raisin English muffin is going to be rising just in a few minutes. And I might be able to get almost a complete English muffin out of this one right here. All right, so I'm going to show you these before we cover them and let them rise. All right, so we're going to let those rise, going to keep the air off them, and we'll be back when we shift over to the griddle. All right, so let's point out a couple of things, recapping. We have some more semolina flour handy, just in case we need it, because we've already put some on the griddle, but we got it there ready to go. We have our spatula to carefully flip these things so we don't deflate them. We have our cooling rack right next to the griddle to place the muffins on when they're done. And we still have our muffins in dough form underneath these. They've been rising for probably about almost 10 minutes. Let's see. Okay, those guys rose a little more, and then those guys rose a little more. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 2 little guys. So I will increase the recipe next time if I like the way they turn out. But we're going to turn the griddle on now while they rise another minute or two. All right, so it's almost time. The griddle's still getting hot, but I do want to point out, I mentioned it earlier, that this dough is like my pizza dough, very similar. And I did find a couple of English muffin recipes that were considerably more hydration in them, and they're very difficult to work with. I didn't see that there was any improvement on the finished muffin, that actually it even took a little bit longer to cook the humidity out. So this recipe is 65% hydration. So just thought I'd mention that, and you'll see really quickly how phenomenal this process is on the cooking stage. See you in a bit. Okay, so if you've been doing anything in your kitchen for a little while, you've got some little cool gadgets, and one of the things that I've incorporated into my arsenal of tools is a digital thermometer. You do not have to have one of these if you want to just wait for the griddle to get hot. You could basically hold your hand above it, and if you feel it's pretty warm, it might want to get a little warmer. But if you see the semolina starting to brown, then you might want to back the temperature off. In any case, digitally, the readout says that it is in different places. Of course, the semolina is going to give a different reading. 383. What is that? 385. 380. So this thermostat is reading a little bit off. I backed it off a tiny bit. So we're going to get these on the griddle here. Okay, we're going to start by getting one of the regular ones and one of the cinnamon raisin. Just carefully lift that off, being careful not to deflate it. Just get that on there. And then we get this one. This is the cinnamon raisin. You get a cinnamon raisin right on there. And we're going to cover it up, like I said. And then we're just going to time it for about 6 minutes. We'll see where we are in 6 minutes, and we'll be back. All right, we are at 6 minutes. So let's take a look underneath here. Well, they certainly rose. So we're going to scoop that up carefully and flip it over carefully. Look at that. Okay. And then we're going to do the same thing here. And you can see they do deflate a little. So that's why you want to be careful. We're going to let that go for another 5-6 minutes. Let's reset the timer. All right, we're going to check these. It's been about 3 or 4 minutes, but I still want to take a peek under there. I don't want them to burn. I can see the semolina is a little on the hot side, but let's see. You know what? That, I would say, is done. Wouldn't you? Look at that. Look at those two beautiful muffins. All right, we're going to take that one off. Put it over there on the cooling rack. Put that one on the cooling rack. Maybe back the temperature down a tiny bit. And we're just going to, actually, what we'll do is with a damp paper towel, just scoot some of this semolina over to that end. It's not really all that burned that badly, but I'd rather start with some fresh. So I'm just going to sprinkle some more semolina there. And this time we're going to actually put a couple of extra muffins on there. So let's start going into the raisin ones. Now we're going to take one of these cinnamon raisin muffins and we're going to put it on the griddle just like that. And then we'll get another cinnamon raisin English muffin and put that on the griddle. I think I'm going to try to get this other smaller one right there. All right. And scoot this one over a tiny bit. Yeah. Once they hit the griddle, they're kind of easier to do that too. All right. And we'll cover them up. And start our timer again. 5 minutes, 6 minutes. We'll be back. All right, so we're at 6 minutes on this batch. And these tins are made out of aluminum, so they're not hot. I mean, if you hold on to it long enough, it's hot. But it is time to flip these. Let's start with this one right here. Just going to carefully get underneath there and carefully turn it over like that. You can see it deflates as soon as I flip it. And then we go underneath this one. But they got room to deflate, actually. This one's a little strange shape, but that's that little guy. He got bigger, didn't he? And then we got this one over here. All right. So we'll cover those back up. And we'll come back to those in about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. We'll check them. All right, we are at like 5 minutes on these guys. Let's see what it looks like underneath. Oh, looks pretty good. See what this one looks like. Yeah. All right. I'll take that off. That's the raisin. Right here. And reshape that while we can. And then we got another one. We get that one right there. And then we got that other little guy. We'll put him right there. All right. And we're just gonna move that down a little bit. Right there. And we're gonna cover them up. All right, 6 minutes. Let's take a look. Yeah, they look nice. Let's reset the timer and flip these guys. Sliding away. There we go. Oh, going back to our original experiment, I would say that using the 1/2 inch block of wood was a good idea to get them uniform in size. They are more uniform in size. Okay, the experiment worked. In any case, it looked like they turned out good. I'm going to eat this one. I'm going to put that in the toaster. All right, so looks like we only have about 15 seconds remaining before those pop out of the toaster, and we're going to butter them up. I would say that looks perfect. Get that one there and that one there. Oh yeah. All right. And we're going to butter it up. Oh yeah, you hear that? That's what they always do on the cooking videos. I always thought it was funny, so I had to do it. All right. I love butter. And it's healthy for you. It's got vitamins. So look at that. We'll load that up with butter. And to tell you how it is, let's go for this one. Look at that. Just look at that. All right. There it is. Oh, man. Oh. I wish you could see my face. I know you don't want to, but oh. First time making cinnamon raisin English muffins. We're going to do that again. Oh, yeah. See you next time, friends.